formidable assignment, not only because I think we should be happy to provide a pretext for such a high quality conversation this evening, but it's also formidable since Sam and I are all standing between you and something to drink and eat. However, I would like to do a little station identification here. Mark, you mentioned the heft of this volume. When we were originally approached by Dominic Maya, who's here somewhere, about this volume, we discussed various ways of packaging it. And I reminded him that the first marketing expert on books said there were only two kinds of books, and that was Mark Twain, who said that either you had to have a volume that was that high so you could balance a piece of furniture, or it had to be big enough to throw in a barking dog, and we have opted for the latter. I will only repeat what Lord Henny said about Sam. It was a pleasure to be in this assignment with him, except for Nairi, of course. We had 47 cats to prove into 40 chapters on a very tight timetable. And it was only 34 months between conception and the actual publication last in May. We think that it has everything that you need to know and we're afraid to ask about peace and security, human rights, humanitarian action, and development and finance, the topics that were on the table this evening. It has a cosmopolitan group. In the 800 pages, we think we have managed to at least address some of the primary concerns of lawyers, political scientists, historians. And I think most importantly, the authors themselves are not just from around the planet, but that the chapters are really uniformly high quality. And it has an unusually high number of people, Nairi being one of them, who have written books about topics and have also worked in the belly of the beast. So you can also, if you want to look at international legal issues and criminal prosecution, you have Richard Goldstone, who was on the front lines in The Hague. You have Richard Jolly, who's done an enormous amount of work in thinking and working on development. You have Bertie Ramcharan, who has spent a life in the human rights machinery. You have Barbara Crossett, who was a New York Times correspondent looking at the UN relations and media. This project was a joint one between UNAUK and the United Nations Intellectual History Project, which I co-direct in New York at the Bunch Institute at the Graduate Center of the City University of New York. Neither of us could have done this unless we had the independence to pursue the issues we wanted to pursue. This comes because, at least in my case, there are 8 governments, including this one, that have provided some finance and 5 foundations. So you will see, Adam said somber, we think it's a balanced presentation. It's one in which the warts appear, in which there are no card-carrying members of the UN fan club, but a lot of people who care deeply about the success of international cooperation. Our own chapter, which is called Continuity and Change, which Adam so nicely characterized, does try to pull together, we think, what the book is about. On the one hand, there are lots of new threats. We've seen some in the past week in Britain. There are lots of new actors. There also are new attempts at norms, principles, and international initiatives, and we try to pull those into this volume as well. The continuity, of course, comes from the fact that we have lots and lots of problems that don't respect national borders, climate change, proliferation, what have you. The last Secretary General called these problems without passports. And the problem is we need decisions that go across borders, and we still have the silos that are the governments of sovereign states. And that is the challenge we were, I think, talking about this evening, we'll be talking about in the near term. And in fact, Mark, you mentioned age. We try in this book to say, well, is the UN 62 years young, or is it 62 years old? To what extent has the institution actually changed the world in which it finds itself, or has it been changed by the world in which it finds itself? And so we ultimately are asking a question that I keep asking myself. I actually date the UN from the first meeting in London in 1946, which is virtually my own birthday. So this year I was thinking about the 40th anniversary of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And so the question this evening, and for myself, is who will need me, who will feed me when I'm 64? And so I've actually brought my wife and daughter along to answer the first part of the question. We hope you might look at the handbook for the second part. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you, David, for your very kind words. As co-editor of the handbook, I'd like to start by saying how valuable I think it is that the publishing house of one of the oldest and most prestigious universities chose to commission an in-depth and what we hope will be seminal review of what is actually a very youthful experiment in international cooperation. But it's an experiment which has directly touched the lives of billions of individuals over the last 62 years. So first, warm appreciation to our far-sighted and unflappable commissioning editor at Oxford University Press, Dominic Byatt, and his team. Second, from an Commonwealth office, especially to Tim Morris and his team for graciously hosting tonight's proceedings, and for the close working relationship that our two institutions have developed over recent years. Third, to the handbook's expert contributors, a number of whom are with us tonight. It's they who have done the real work, so thank you. Fourth, to my wonderful co-editor and friend, Tom Weiss. It's been wonderful working with you, and our respective research teams in New York and in the UK. I'd like to say a particular thank you to Dr. Taylor Sherman, who led my research team in Cambridge, where the handbook was in its embryonic form. I think she's there tonight. And then when I moved to UNAUK, to Veronica Lee, Natalie Samrasinger, Tim Kello, and Mark Rusling for their first-class support. And to all of you, from High Commissions and embassies ranging from Afghanistan to the United States of America, the media, academia, the private sector, NGOs, Parliament, the diplomatic service, and members of UNAUK. Thank you for coming tonight. As Executive Director of UNAUK, I'd like to observe that if we stand back for a moment from the detail, it becomes apparent what a remarkable institution the United Nations actually is. The UN has many claims to relevance, not least the valuable work that it does across the globe, but also its now virtually universal membership. Any club that has attracted every potential member has a clear claim to utility. UNAUK and its supporters champion both the ethics and the efficacy of multilateral solutions to global problems. Whilst the UN is far from perfect, the excellent speakers we've heard tonight and the 40 expert contributions to the handbook affirm that the UN remains an indispensable institution in a world where, as Tom Weiss reminded us, problems without passports require solutions that transcend borders. And the UN matters to impoverished and war-torn countries. People there benefit directly from UN development workers, from UN peacekeepers, from UN human rights investigators. And a stronger UN benefits us in Britain in myriad ways as we contend with threats ranging from climate change to terrorism. I hope you leave tonight sharing my feelings of pride for the role the United Kingdom played in the foundation of the UN in 1945, and of hope for an enhanced UK role in the UN in the future. We need a strong, credible and effective United Nations. At this time of change for the organisation, it's, I think, extremely appropriate, fortunate that we have two highly experienced ambassadors at the UN in Geneva and New York. Nick Thorne here with us, and I understand John Sawyers also, who will be wonderful at the back, will be leaving for New York with his wife Shelley in August to represent and speak on behalf of our country at the UN there. So these two highly experienced individuals, alongside now, thanks to Prime Minister Gordon Brown, UN veterans among Mallet Brown, with a ministerial brief for the United Nations at the heart of government in the UK. And Mark, I really want to say how delighted and grateful I am that you're here with us tonight. UNAUK and our Foreign Office representatives, I believe, share the conviction that not only is there an undeniable moral imperative to do all we can to strengthen the UN, but also that it is in Britain's clear strategic interest to do so. So in closing tonight's formal proceedings, I want to warmly thank Lord Hannay for presiding and our speakers for their valuable contributions, and to all of you for coming tonight. So please do enjoy some delicious Foreign Office food, and of course, buy the book.